In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the front upper ball joint on this Nissan Frontier. It's located on your upper control arm, and I do recommend an alignment after this procedure, so let's get started. Use a 21mm socket, remove all 6 of your lug nuts so we can then remove the wheel. Remove your wheel. When we separate the upper control arm from the knuckle, you want to make sure you don't tilt the knuckle forward too much to separate the inner CV joint on the axle. I will not be taking the axle nut off because we don't have to actually pull this away. When this separates, I'm going to lean it to the side and bungee cord it towards the frame so that it can stay secure. Now, there is supposed to be a cotter pin on the upper ball joint here. Mine is completely broken. Looks like somebody's already tried to take this off before, so I'm just going to skip past that step. But if you still have one, remove it, and then use a 22mm socket to remove the mounting nut that clamps on the ball joint stud onto the knuckle. With that off, put it back a couple turns. What this is going to do is when we separate these two, it won't come flying up and the ball or the knuckle won't come forward. Just like I mentioned earlier, you don't want it to come forward too much. Take a hammer, hit the side of the knuckle. That should separate the two. At this point, you should be able to pull down on this control arm, remove the mounting nut. Naturally, it will want to go up, just like this. Let the knuckle tilt to the side, and we'll bungee cord this towards the frame, like I said, so that it can't come forward. At this point, I'm going to remove the boot because it's going to make the removal of this ball joint a whole lot easier. I'm just going to cut it. It does have a metal ring at the top, and it's going to prevent me from taking it off easily. So cutting it and then ripping it off with some pliers is going to be the easiest way to get it out of here. And now with that removed, I have my receiving cup at the top. It's larger than the ball joint so that the ball joint can go up and in, and it's also tall enough with a little cup or a plate on top so I can actually press on something. And on the bottom, a combination of different adapters that will allow me to press on the ball joint. And I'm going to put my ball joint press up and over. With it set up in here, let's press the ball joint up. There it is. Inspect the control arm to make sure it's in reusable condition, and of course this one is. I'm just going to wipe it off, get all the debris off of here so that we can get ready for installation. If you have a lot of rust buildup, sand this area down. I have some surface rust on the inside, actually not even that much, so I'm not too worried about it. Wipe off the outside, that way the new ball joint doesn't get caught on anything. And now, let's press it in. The new ball joint will go down from the top. Make sure the boot clears everything and doesn't get stuck or pinched. And at this point, we have to reverse the cups. So I'm going to put a receiving cup on the bottom and one that fits flat over the outside edge of the ball joint on the top. You never want to press on the center. That would ruin the ball joint. All right, I have everything set up here. Make sure everything is centered. Let's press it in. Bottomed out, take it back off. This one pressed in nice and smooth. If yours gets stuck or it goes at an angle, stop, try to reset it, because if it's not going in straight, it could damage the ball joint and it could definitely damage the control arm. This is just stamped steel, so it'll actually just spread the hole apart, and that's obviously going to cause an issue for installation. This is supposed to be a very tight press fit. Next is going to be a snap ring that locks this in permanently. Unfortunately, my original one did not, so that's why I didn't remove anything. Yours might. But at this point, you need snap ring pliers to slide this in here. Make sure it seats in all the way around, just like so. Double check it. The groove, or the snap ring is in its groove all the way around, so this ball joint is locked in tight. Remove any sort of securing device that you had here. For me, it was the bungee cord. And then bring the knuckle over, stick the ball joint through it. You have to move it around a little. And you're going to want to press this down until you see some threads poking through. Quickly put the mounting nut on. There we go. Perfect, now you can let go. If you want to keep bottoming it out by hand, you can. But at this point, I'm just gonna take my impact, tighten it up. 21 millimeter socket, bottom it out. The torque for this is 58 foot-pounds. If the cotter pin slot, once you're done torquing, does not line up, continue tightening to get it to line up and never loosen. As you can see, it's right in the middle of the two castle nut slots, so we're going to keep going. A little more. A little more. Stick the cotter pin through, and to lock it in, you're going to want to bend it over. Make sure it's out of the way of anything so it doesn't get caught on the wheel or anything like that. That's securely locked in, so let's get the wheel on. Reinstall the wheel, seat it on the hub, and then take all 6 of your lug nuts, thread them on by hand so they don't cross thread. And in a cross pattern, you're going to want to snug them up, and then also in a cross pattern, torque them to 98 foot-pounds. Once again, 98 foot-pounds in a cross pattern. Double check them if you want. And there you have it.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.